welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. I'm pretty pumped up for this Vegas Golden Knights season, and tonight, no exception. It is the season opener against the rival. I think that is very fair to say. The rival, San Jose Sharks. And the guy we have with us on the line right now, I tell you what, he's pretty damn good at analyzing the NHL, and he is a super fan, and he knows this team inside and out. He also happens to have 36 final tables at the World Series of Poker, and he has 6 World Series of Poker bracelets. Pretty good poker player, too, I would say. Daniel Negreanu joins us on the line. Daniel, thanks so much for being here. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. Hockey's back, so excited to head down and watch the festivities tonight.
Yeah, I am too. We will both be there as well. It's going to be a fun game. All right, wow, so much to get to here. Let's start with this. I'm a little bummed out that Evander Kane will not be on the ice tonight. Are you a little bummed out by that too? It's just not the same when he's not out there.
Well, I mean, listen, bottom line is I want to see, Vegas get W's. And, Evander Kane is one of their, members of the top 6. Having said that, Evander Kane has played maybe 10 games in Vegas, has 0 goals, 2 suspensions.
Right, that's true.
0 goals, 2 suspensions, drawn, I don't know how many penalty minutes, but, it's clear that, Vegas as a whole has gotten under Evander Kane's skin. Him not being there, I still think the game's going to be feisty, and I think, it could get ugly depending on the score, but a lot less so without a guy like Evander Kane out there on the ice.
So we love Ryan Reeves, right? We love him as a Vegas Golden Knight. He said, quote, "Poor Evander, so tragic. I wish he was on the ice. It's always more fun when he's on the ice." I love this little rivalry that these two have going at it. But did you watch, before we get to the game tonight, did you watch the preseason game the other night against the Sharks? Because I thought the third period, it looked more like WWE. It was crazy. It was like an all-out brawl. I've never seen anything like it.
Oh, sorry about that. My dog started barking.
That's okay.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, obviously in a preseason game when the score gets out of hand and you have 2 rivals like we do here with Vegas and San Jose, things are going to get ugly. I expect both coaches to kind of temper their team and say, listen, guys, we need the 2 points here. So, it's going to, it might be aggressive, but it's going to be a lot less so, I think, because these games actually matter. It was kind of like crazy of the schedule makers to give us 2 preseason games against San Jose and then back-to-back to start. Like, they were looking for blood right off the bat.
It certainly seemed that way. So obviously I want to ask you questions about the season in its totality and the roster. But before we get to that, one more question. Let's talk about the game tonight. Just from a Vegas perspective in the gambling line, Knights are obviously a favorite, but not a huge favorite. Minus 180 is the money line. If you wanted to take the puck line with the Vegas Golden Knights, I believe it's plus 155 at minus 1.5 goals. I know you tend to wager on these games, and you seem to do very well. Maybe you could share with our listeners, what do you think you should play tonight?
So the line moved. I have a friend who got in a little earlier. He got San Jose when Vegas was minus 210 or 220.
Wow.
And, the line has gone down because that's kind of a silly line, really. Now, without Evander Kane, that sort of gives, you even more reason to bet Vegas. They have looked good in the preseason, all that. That doesn't matter. Now, Vegas is missing Cody Eakin and Alex Tuck. So I'm looking like, from what I see right now, is the odds makers, have it right. But if I was going to lean anyway, I would certainly, bet Vegas at home in the first game. There's usually a lot of pop and circumstance with the first game. The crowd really gets into it. Tough place to play for any team, let alone the San Jose Sharks.
All right, there you go. There's Daniel Negreanu's pick for tonight. So the over-under, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, for points in October for the Vegas Golden Knights was 17.5. What do you think about that?
17.5. I did not see that number. How many games are in October? Let me see. I have to look at the schedule. I haven't looked closely at the October schedule because that's really relevant. I remember last year, they started October in a brutal spot, and when they were 8-11-1, the schedule was tough. And then I looked at a part of the schedule in late December and early January and said they're going to go 7-3 or 8-2 during that span. I think they went 8-1-1. Mm-hmm. So I would have to take a deeper look at where the road games are and stuff like that. So I don't have a good opinion on that until I look at it.
Fair enough.
In your opinion, is this year's Knights team going to be better than last year's team? And what changes were made in the offseason that would make you think that?
I think they'll be better for a couple of reasons for the entirety of the season. First and foremost, Nate Schmidt's going to be there from day one, who's our number one defenseman.
That's huge.
Then, you're also talking about last year, we faced just a bunch of injuries from Stastny, Pacioretty, Tuck, all missed time early. So it took time for this team to get together. Also, Mark Stone wasn't part of this team until after the deadline. The biggest additions that you can look at really is Cody Glass, which, adds a different, wrinkle and variable, and he's going to be starting tonight in between Stone and Pacioretty, who he's had a lot of chemistry with so far in the preseason, which is interesting because Stasny's in the lineup, but they're going to put him on the third line. I think the thinking for Gallant there is he wants to give Glass, the best opportunity to succeed. Again, he's had some good chemistry with Pacioretty. And then on the back end, you look at the defense that's going to be starting tonight. It's nothing new. Having said that, there's a bunch of guys knocking on the door in Nick Hague and Jimmy Schultz who can add a different dynamic. You'd expect maybe, some nights off for England and Holden to give these guys a chance. So depth on defense, I think, losing Gusev in the offseason, a lot of people were bummed about that. But Zykov has really stepped up in the offseason, and he offers kind of like a tough, menacing presence. You saw him get involved with Evander Kane in the preseason game. So a little more grit is definitely what Gallant likes to see, and he's been very happy with the progress of Zykov. So I definitely think they're going to be a better team this year. A lot's going to depend on, an aging, Fleury. And if Fleury can continue to play how he has, and, I'm hoping to see Subban, in some more games this year.
And that was my next question for you. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with six-time World Series of Poker champion Daniel Negreanu, also 36 final tables at the WSOP, and a Las Vegas Golden Knights superfan and extremely knowledgeable when it comes to NHL hockey. Daniel, that was my next question for you. Let's talk about Marc-Andre Fleury for a little bit because, as we all know how great of a player he is. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's not getting any younger, right? And if he gets hurt, Subban in net, how confident are you that Subban could tally up the wins for this team?
Well, listen, if you look at Subban's home record, he's like 18-2-1 in T-Mobile. A lot of his record is dependent upon the fact that a lot of his starts were on a back-to-back when the team is tired on the road somewhere. That's a tough place to play. So they didn't really put up numbers for him. I think Subban has the athleticism and the ability to really, if you look, you can't beat him in a shootout. Unbeatable. Because he's really good in close. He's very, flexible in that area. His issue has been, for the most part, I'd say his biggest weakness has been, shots from the point or long distance where he's, got a screen in front of him. He's had some trouble seeing through that. And I think that's just one of the things that will improve with age. Because you see a lot of easy goals, get through Subban, and then all of a sudden you see him make some incredible saves. I think he's a solid backup. And again, as we said, Fleury, his expected, so there's a stat that's very important for, that's developed lately is, goals saved above expectation. And Fleury he was good last year, but he was only 4.5 goals above expectation, which means based on, the shots that he faced, he saved 4.5 more than, he's supposed to. So it's decent, but it's not earth shattering.
It's like the equivalent of baseball's WAR stat. How much longer do you think Fleury can play at a higher level?
Well, let's hope he can play 2 more years at this level. I mean, there's been a lot of goalies that have been able to play into their, mid to late 30s, and that's, where Fleury's, entering right now. I think that the approach should be, some load management here. Like last year, unfortunate for Fleury, they had him playing back-to-backs. They had him, really playing way too many games during a stretch, partly because we started off so poorly. Coach Gallant figured, we need to win, whatever the case may be. We just have to win this game. So Fleury gives us the best chance to do that. And then, he took the last, 2 weeks off or whatever when they sort of pulled the brakes and said, okay, we're the 3 seed. That's just, going to lock that up.
Right.
This year, I expect him to get off to a much better start. And I don't expect you to see Fleury playing in back-to-back games on back-to-back nights.